What is it like to do intermittent fasting?
Today, my sister Michelle and I share our experiences with the intermittent fasting and what we experienced. And you can see if this is something that you really want to try.
As a health coach and a wellness coach, we ask the questions so you get the answers. So let's get started as we ask.
Wait, what?
Hi, Leah.
I'm so excited. Hi, Kamna. How are you?
Good. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, guys. I'm happy to be here.
I am excited to ask you guys a bunch of questions.
Okay, we did it different.
Oh,
We
that's good to know.
discovered it like on accident as we were like talking about it throughout the week. Well, I'm jumping all around. Anyway, let me introduce. This is my sister Michelle. She is joining us today. She is in our Saturday morning call to action group as well. So she is definitely on the same journey as everybody that's
hmm
listening and you and I and
hmm
same struggles that I think we all have. I don't think I'm
Yeah.
speaking for you.
Oh,
Same,
no, for sure.
right? Same struggles. And she's always willing to try something, right?
I mean, for the most part,
But if I call, like, here's an example. If I called her and I said, Michelle, let's do this thing where we eat three vegetables every single day, no matter what, she'd be like, all right, I'll do it without a question. Like, right? You'd be willing to do
yeah.
pretty much,
Yeah. When it comes to health stuff, I definitely am
yes.
willing.
Yeah,
Yes,
health stuff
Michelle,
is what
are
I
you
meant.
the middle sister?
I am. Yes.
Okay, yeah. That
That plays out.
I think birth order makes a difference in how like middle children are generally like, okay, whatever, let's do it.
Hmm. Okay. Probably. That's probably
Yeah.
true.
And
Yeah. So,
Probably Leah bosses you around, I would guess.
I don't know.
Maybe when we were younger, but I
Okay.
don't.
I'll tell you one other thing. My little sister would not. If I called her, was like, let's eat three vegetables a day, she'd be like, no, I can't do it. She just wouldn't. And that's not anything against her. It's just that's how different that we are. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, when I was texting with you, Michelle, you said that you changed your call to action to talk about, I mean, sorry, you changed it to do intermittent fasting. What was the decision there?
So I have kind of played around with it here and there. Actually, for gosh, I would say since COVID.
hmm
Oh.
But back then I did more of the 24-hour fast once a week, and we can talk about that later. But this, I've never really been super consistent with the 16/8. I have 5 days a week, and I'm a teacher, so that is my schedule is very strict and limited. And so I've done the 16/8 during the week, but on the weekends is always when I've slacked and never given it my all. So when Leah was like, let's do it, we could do it for a whole week. And so I'm like, okay, I can do it. So I made sure that I was really, really consistent with it, I think. And I
Oh,
didn't cheat.
really?
Like, and I, yeah, even like when I ate later on Saturday, I pushed myself the next day to not eat until that 16 window
Oh,
was up. And because I'm like, okay, I can do this for a full week. And so I realized that like for the most part, I can do it as long as I don't have like some giant event. But I even think then I'm gonna try to do it. We'll see.
really?
Well, okay, so let's back up. And so we've discovered at the beginning of the week that we were doing it different.
Yeah, tell me
So
what that means.
here's what I mean. I went in focusing on the minute I eat in the morning, I stop eating 8 hours later.
hmm
So I was going in every single morning, like, okay, so if I eat at 11, then I was counting and figuring it out then. Tell them how you did it.
So I kind of focused on making sure I had 16 hours from the time I stopped eating to the time I started. So for example,
Okay.
my window is 10:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. But if there were like some nights when I would go, past 6:30 to 7:30, I was making sure that I didn't eat anything until 11:30 the next day. But
Okay.
if I had eaten from 10:30 to 7:30, 9 hours, I didn't care so much about that. I just wanted to make sure my time in between was bigger.
She made sure her fasting time was like legitimately the right amount of
So
fasting.
I want to ask each of you, how did that work for you? Like Leah, you focused on the time of eating. How did that work for you?
Well, okay, so I would but right away from the beginning, like I was talking to her about it, and I'm like, I can't do it. I have to eat it early because I get like sick and shaky. And she's like, well, then you just stop eating at whatever time it was. Like it was like I think she was like, well, then you just stop eating at 6. And I was like, I don't know why it didn't occur to me. Like, yeah, I can do it. It's
Yeah.
like, and guess what? When she worded it that way, like I'm like, I don't want to stop eating at 6, so I can push myself to eat at 11 now.
Oh.
and I don't get sick.
Wait,
So
you eat your first meal at 11.
I can eat my first meal at 11.
So when were you breaking your fast? What time typically during the week?
I was doing 11 to 7.
But you wake up at 4 in the morning, right?
I know. But
So here we
yeah,
go. This
here
is
we
where
go.
she's not being very well, I guess you're being honest, but like she
I'm
wasn't being
being
true
very
to it.
honest. Okay.
Yes.
But I am being true to it in my way. Okay. First of all, I always have 2 cups of coffee and I put my cream in it. So that is immediately, technically, I'm not doing it.
Breaking her
Mhm.
fast.
I technically, correct. However, I'm slowly trying to get off of the coffee cream.
Okay.
Now,
So it
I, on the
wasn't
other
some,
hand,
yes, go on.
did not put cream in my coffee, even though I love cream in my coffee. I have been drinking it black to be very true to this. Just
She's
saying, just
definitely
saying.
more of a rule follower on this one.
So Michelle, when did you break your fast?
10:30 is when I get to eat, like is when my students go to recess, and that's when I can take a lunch break.
And what time do you wake up?
Well, I wake up also at 4:30, and
Oh,
but I 4:30, 4:45, I do hit snooze a bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
And then I have to have my coffee. I have to have my coffee like in the morning after I get 1,000 steps. So I don't like do a full workout, but I did the habit tracker like you guys were doing in your other CTAs, and I'm
Yeah.
very, very good at getting 1,000 steps before coffee. And then I like to, my guilty pleasure is I like to sit and watch like part of a show at in the morning before anyone wakes up while I drink my coffee. So I just
so
had to tweak
good.
it so that I can, it's black, but it's still, I can still do the habit.
Are you starting to like black coffee?
I'm starting to like it. I, in the, like, when I was doing this throughout the year, I would always, Saturday, Sunday, still put the cream in and kind of treat myself. But I've realized that on Saturday and Sunday, I can still have like a late morning coffee at 10:30 with cream after
Hmm.
my fast is, I can, I still have to have the black
Oh,
coffee. If I don't have it in the morning, I get a headache.
yeah.
I
Right.
have to have it. So I'm noticing that I don't drink as much, which is probably good because I'm not getting all that cream, you know?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the next thing I want to know is what did you break your fast with? What did you eat the first thing?
So I ate whatever I had packed in my lunch. So there was one couple times when I had prepped and I had like a good hearty like I had this broccoli like turkey sausage thing that I had made, and so I had that pre-prepped. So it did have a lot of um oh gosh, here comes my dog. Sorry. Um it did have a lot of protein, but then there were other times when I would have a salad with not as much protein, but maybe like with like a hard-boiled egg or something. I do try to make sure I always have my protein. But when I was listening to you guys last week and you said to always break that fast with protein, that's kind
Right.
of what I want to focus on this week because I want to keep up the intermittent fasting, but I want to make sure that when I'm breaking the fast, I have the protein right away.
Right.
Okay.
Leah, how about you?
I was during the work week, I was breaking my fast with it's like I call it the Leah parfait. It's blueberries, coconut, natural peanut butter, and then my homemade granola. It's like a layered
Mm,
bowl, and I just eat that. So it's not really high in protein, however, it does have protein and it does have fiber and it does have healthy fat, right? Because the coconut
yeah,
a healthy fat.
absolutely.
So that's what I did this week during the week. And it's very filling. But I'll tell you, there was like 2 days, maybe one day that I was starving. And I actually forgot that I had that in my bag. So I ate like I think it was like a cheese stick, and I don't remember what it was that day, but it was like I was like eating anything in sight.
So do you think there were certain reasons why you were hungrier?
No, I realized through doing this intermittent fast that I had forgotten what it felt like to be hungry.
Oh,
Yeah, I've actually realized that too. And
Right?
also, yeah, and also I want to say that on the weekends I didn't break my fast with something healthy. I had like a Reese egg at 10:30 and like
yes.
I did not, it was the
Right.
weekend, yeah, it was game
But
over.
you
But I
still
mean,
fasted.
I was still fasting, but it wasn't like
Yeah.
that
Hey, there
protein right
is
away.
pretty sure there is protein in a Reese's peanut butter
That's
cup
true.
egg.
That is
There's a
true.
little bit for
There
sure.
is, right?
Do you think your eating changed at all throughout your intermittent fasting? Like what you normally ate in a week, was it different than what you were eating during the week, or was it the same?
Um, you want to answer first?
I think it was the same for
Okay.
me. Yeah, mine was the same. I tried to get my
Okay.
protein. I did get my fruit and vegetable. I may have allowed myself a little bit more sweets, but also it was like Easter time. So I don't know if it was just because of,
Oh, wow. You started this at Easter time?
right after, because
Oh my goodness.
But
I indulged on Easter and I was like, let's get it together. Let's go.
okay, but there's a lot of leftover Easter candy and stuff,
That's what
is
I
what you
mean.
mean.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So this is what I noticed. One, going back to this hunger thing, I have not allowed myself to feel hunger in a long time
Mm-hmm.
because I realized that when I was hungry, like this week, I'm like, oh, I'm hungry. Like, I forgot
Hmm.
what that's like. Or when I stopped eating at 7, there was a night that I was like still kind of hungry.
Yeah.
Like I could feel it. It might have been like at 8:30 or something, but I was still hungry. And it happened just coincidentally that night my dinner was like popcorn. So clearly there's a reason why I was
Yeah.
hungry, but it was one of those things where I was like I actually didn't feel like eating a big meal, so I had like quote unquote girl dinner that night.
Hmm.
But it taught me that like I'm not eating the right things sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm just eating.
Were you doing the vinegar too while you were doing this or no?
No, I did not do the
Okay.
vinegar this week. But I miss the vinegar. And I miss the vinegar very much.
Why?
I miss how I felt on the vinegar. Like I felt clean. I can't explain it. I just felt like the inside of my body felt so clean. Is
Oh,
it weird?
no.
I
I don't
felt
think
like
it's
my
weird.
stomach was
A
flatter.
little weird.
I felt like my stomach was flatter. I felt like my bathroom in the morning, going to the bathroom was very, like, I felt cleaned out.
Yeah.
I don't think I
That's
can do
always
it
a good
every
feeling.
day. I don't
Did
think I
you
can
have
do it
clean
every day.
did you have clean thoughts?
No, definitely not. No. I was like thinking on that one for a second.
That's funny.
But I just feel like, yeah, I felt like cleaner. I don't know if that makes any sense to anybody listening, but that's not what we're talking about today. So,
So you're saying that if you had a proper meal for your dinner or
yeah,
your last whatever you ate before you stopped,
yeah.
that affected your morning.
No, I'm saying it affected my night going to bed.
Oh, okay. Okay, got
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I didn't feel satisfied going to bed. Does
Hmm.
that make sense?
Was there any part of this that you found hard?
Okay, so here's where Michelle's going to tell you that I cheated again. I am pretty sure I read somewhere that you can have a 0-calorie drink. That counts as an intermittent fast. Is that wrong?
Okay, and then let me tell you what I think so we can see who's right. I said you can have black coffee and tea with no sugar or anything. So I don't think I could be wrong, but I don't think you can have Crystal Light or a diet soda or something like that. Like I don't think you can do that. I think that's cheating.
So it was only 3 days, but then there were 3 days that I then cheated if that was the case.
Okay.
So
What's
what do
the
you think?
answer?
Yeah, weigh in on this,
Well, I'm
caller.
not the expert, but I
And
think
pick a side. Just kidding.
I think anything that raises your blood sugar is breaking your fast. But if you're having like a diet soda that has other things besides the artificial
Okay,
sweetener, if you have like a Crystal Light has, if it has just the artificial sweetener, fine, but we know that it doesn't. It has
right,
other stuff in it. So I think it counts as breaking your fast because there's an effect that happens on your body, like the stomach starts going and your
right.
brain's like, oh, we're having food now. And so some of that happens. I think that's why it doesn't fully qualify, not to side with
All
Michelle,
right.
but you know,
And
No,
Leah,
I
I
know.
think that like you said, it didn't affect your blood sugar, but I think if
Yeah.
you would have done it without like having that, whatever, I think it maybe you might have seen a
mhm.
different result. Maybe I don't know. I could be wrong.
No, I agree with that because even though it's artificial sweeteners and it theoretically it doesn't raise your blood sugar, you still stay stable. It does something to your gut, it does something to your moods, it does something to your energy. It
Okay, so
does.
what if I put a lemon in my water?
I think that still counts as breaking your fast.
Really?
Hmm.
So you're saying like, but why would black coffee and tea not?
Because there's nothing in there. I don't know. I don't know the rules about this, but I just remember reading
Good
that
question.
black coffee and black tea count as not breaking your fast. Let me just go back to my notes,
Okay, so
actually.
I definitely will tell you guys I drank a ton more water because when
Hmm.
I
Same,
was hungry, I would just drink water.
same.
Yeah.
But there were some times that I'm like, oh my God, I gotta have something. Like that's how hungry I was.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the hardest part of this because I was trying to do it because that was my call to action. I did it for like 2 days, but then I had a
Yeah.
house full of people. Um, okay, wait, sorry to go back for a minute. During fasting, people can drink calorie-free beverages like water, herbal tea, and black coffee.
Well, calorie free,
Yeah, I guess
but
technically you're correct then.
right?
Yeah.
I mean,
But
that's a gray area.
when you fast for the doctor, they say black coffee or tea. That's it. They don't say you can have a Diet Coke, you can have,
I
Crystal Light. No, you can't.
okay, well, I don't okay, so wait, back up. When I fast for the doctor, I typically don't I go at 7 a.m. and I'm not drinking Diet Coke or Crystal Light or anything else in the morning. I'm getting there, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Okay, I just Googled it because we're going to
Okay.
have this discussion. Black coffee, water, tea, sparkling water, apple cider vinegar, sports drinks, bone broth, lemon water,
Good
unsweetened
God.
tea, diet soda. They all
So,
count as not breaking your fast.
wow. So pretty much like you're having a colonoscopy.
Yeah, kind of. I
Yes.
was thinking that same thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. There we
Oh, I
go.
feel like
Oh,
this is
thank
definitely doable then. Game on.
God. Now I feel so much better that I didn't cheat really. I mean, I still
Yeah.
cheated with the coffee cream. That I can't get past that yet. Someday. But like I feel so much better now.
Yeah. It was good I Googled it because we were all wrong.
Okay, but no, actually I'm actually more happy that I could put a lemon in my butter because I think I could do it if I put a lemon in my water.
Yeah.
I think I could. I just
I think
needed
I could do it if I
something.
had like a LaCroix or something to get me too. That would really
Yeah.
help me.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's a good
What
idea too.
what um what was the easiest part of this?
Go ahead, Shaw.
Oh boy. I don't know. I guess just I go to sleep early
Yeah.
and so I don't at night. I'm not the nighttime was fine. Like I stopped eating at 6:30. For me that was the easiest. I go to bed
Hmm.
early. That's easier to me than waking up and having my black coffee and waiting till 10:30. It just is. Like I don't I'm not hungry, but I don't know why. I guess I've never really been a night eater.
Yeah.
However, I've also not been this is good to note. I've also not been drinking alcohol as much, like on the weekends and stuff. And so I feel like if I had been if I were to go out on a Saturday with some friends and have some drinks, the next morning would be extremely hard for me not to eat.
Right.
Yeah.
Very hard. I don't know if I could do it.
And I
No,
don't know if
that's a
that
good
would be
point.
even be healthy because I feel like you need something in your stomach after a night of drinking. So I don't know
Yeah.
if that would even be something that would be considered. I don't know, but
So then
I
it
would.
goes, yeah. I'm sorry to interrupt, but then it goes back to like, is it worth it? Is the drinking worth it? Because I don't know. We're pretty fun without it.
We are.
That is true. You both really are. Leah, did you find anything about this easy at
Okay,
all?
so I found that it made me a little, I don't want to say the word sad, but there's a lot of times at night when my daughter and I will watch a show together and she'll be like, "Oh, you want to have popcorn or do you want to have this?" And it was like kind of a little bit like because that's what we like did. And I'd be like, "Oh, no, I'm good. I'm good." And I didn't tell her what I was doing. I was just like, "No, I'm good." So I felt a little bit, I don't know, left out maybe.
Yeah.
But
You know what I
Uh,
mean?
could you have said, yeah, let's watch a movie, and then just once
Oh
you
no,
pop,
we still did. We still
oh,
did watch a movie. But then she would be like, okay, well, and then she would make it herself or get herself something. But it just, there is seriously something connected with eating food together with
yes.
somebody.
Yes.
there is,
And
yes, I
it's
agree.
Yes.
probably all in my head and it's
No.
probably all just, but like she was sitting right next to me. We're watching Friends. But because she's eating and I'm not, I felt like a little
Deprived.
disconnection or something.
Yeah. We I was starting to say that I was trying to do not as rigid as either one of you. I was just like 10 to 7. I know that's not the proper math, Leah. Don't correct me on that.
I was
But
counting on my fingers just now. Okay, go on.
I like that'll be my little window because I knew I couldn't do it wholeheartedly. And we had people over and the kids came over. And every time they're home, we do like late night nachos, like at
Mhm.
11 p.m. or 10 p.m. or whenever. And the smell of that melting cheese and
Did you
hearing
eat
them,
it?
I did not. And I
Wow.
was so glad that I didn't, but how tempting it was, I cannot even tell you. To
And do you
see it
feel
in,
like left out a little bit?
I did feel a little left
And
out.
you're
I'm
in
like,
the same room with them. It doesn't make sense to me.
mhm.
Why is that?
It's just because I couldn't partake of the fun of the nachos. It's
Right.
like this activity with the whole family.
It's
And they're
so crazy.
delicious.
Yeah. But you're sitting right there with them. Like that was my struggle this week was like, I'm sitting right here with you. We're still laughing and we're still talking, but I still felt because I wasn't reaching my hand in the popcorn bowl that tiny bit of disconnect. And I don't know if disconnect's the right word, but
It's not that you just feel left out of the fun. It's not like you're disconnected. You're just like they're having fun with whatever. Like I had made homemade brownies and for the kids to eat when they were home, and I didn't buy a box. I made it from scratch. And they were eating these brownies and they're like, "It's so delicious. It's so good." And I was wondering if it's actually good because I didn't taste it, but I'm left out of that fun. You
yeah.
know? I
Yeah,
think
I know
for
what you
me, that's
mean.
the hardest part. And if somebody's eating something and they're making all those yummy noises, I'm done. I'm forget it.
Hmm.
By the way,
Um,
can you explain to Leah and I what from scratch means? Because we don't know what
if
that
you don't
means.
know what that.
Well, I debated.
Good.
I'm like, should I get the box because it'll be super easy, or should I just stick to my principles and just make it? And I'm like, I
Uh,
think I have all the ingredients. I'll just make it.
I don't know what that means. You're right. No.
Sounds great though.
Yeah, it's probably tastes even better than a box.
I mean, the box one ha definitely has some good qualities. I did sample a little bit today, but I don't know. They were all like, it's so good. It's so good. It's so
I'm
good.
sure it is.
And when
I'm
you're
sure.
not eating the thing that everybody else is eating and they're
You
making all
feel
this,
crazy.
you feel a little like, what am I missing?
Hmm.
And that's the
So,
human nature part of this is like, what
Yeah.
am I missing?
right. Same thing if you went out with if your friends were all going out drinking, you feel like, what am I missing? It's just
Yeah,
it's all mental. I really think it's all like if I could just be like, well, it's not a big deal. Like if I could figure that out. The
right.
only other hard part was making it to a certain time in the morning. That's hard for me. I guess I always am a breakfast eater. The minute I get to work at 9 a.m., I'm immediately with food. I'm preparing food.
Yeah.
So that's really hard. Like to not just cut up a pepper and throw it in my mouth, or I'm making salads, I'm making different things. Like it's really, really hard. So
How
that
did
was hard.
you
That
how
was
did you
hard.
deal with the hunger?
Well, sometimes I just would like try and push it out of my head, but then there were 3 times when I'm like, I got to do something, and I was sipping on Crystal Light or whatever else was there that I could like 0 calorie because it's very hard to touch food and be
Yeah.
starving. It's very
Now,
hard.
now for me, there were days when I was starving by 10:30, or usually it hits about 9, but then I don't have the option. I can't. I don't have a break.
Right.
So I just push through, drink, chug some water, and I'm okay. There are times when I'm starting by 10:30, and then there are times when 10:30 hits, and I'm like, gosh, I could push this a little farther if I wanted. And
Oh,
I didn't this week. I have in the past, but I didn't this week just because I'm like, I don't want to be like just
Too much.
ravenous,
Yeah.
at you know, my next break or after school. So I just
Yeah.
didn't. I ate, but I
do
feel
you
like there were
see
times
and
when I could have.
did you see any patterns of what you were eating and the hunger level? And like, was there any connections with anything?
To me, it's all with my cycle.
Oh,
It's
okay.
all with my hormones for
Yeah.
me.
Mm,
I see spikes with because I am a pretty consistent eater with as far as like getting my protein and all that. I think I'm not a great tracker,
Mm-hmm.
but we all know that. Um,
mhm.
but I think it's just certain times of the month, you know,
Yeah.
I'm hungrier.
You know what? I told her this morning. I said I found it easier to track this week. So much easier to track because I said, oh, I only have to track for 8 hours.
Oh,
I don't know why. It was a little mental shift, but I haven't tracked very well recently. And this week I checked every single day and without a problem. Because I was like, oh, I only have to track 8 hours. I don't know what the thought process is there. I truly don't. But it just saying that to myself was like beyond helpful.
Well, are
mhm.
you eating 3 meals too? Because I am not. I'm eating lunch at 10:30 and then my dinner.
Yeah,
So
that's something I noticed. I
yeah,
was only eating 2 meals and then maybe a snack in the middle of the day. So you're right. There
yes.
was less food to track.
Okay, this question is not a anything question, just an informational question, okay?
Okay.
Did you notice anything different on the scale?
Okay. Go ahead, Michelle.
Yes. I lost 1.6.
Oh,
Um I'm
wow.
I'm not good at weighing myself. I hate weighing myself.
Yeah, me too.
Like everyone, but I made sure I weighed myself the day after Easter And then I weighed myself later in the week too, and I was down even more. But then I had noticed I put a couple more on, which is probably normal because of the weekend. You know, I probably
Right,
like
right.
did real good,
Yeah.
and then the weekend came. But overall, for the full 7 days, I was down 1.6.
That's
I think
crazy.
that's amazing.
I'm super happy with it because it just I mean it's so hard this age to lose anything. So I
Yeah.
am gonna keep up with this because if I could just lose one every week,
Yeah.
um, I'd be so happy to be down 5 pounds
Right.
in a month.
Yeah.
My scale had gone up after Easter. Bad. Like borderline like crying tears for real.
Yeah.
That's how bad.
Yeah.
And it is not budged for me. It has
Okay.
not budged. But I swear to you, it's this I gotta go back on my apple cider vinegar.
Yeah.
I really feel like that really helped me. But again, maybe it's just me being crazy. So,
No, I don't think so. I think we've discussed that, the benefits of apple cider vinegar.
hmm
The problem is you're trying too many things at once, so you don't
I
know which thing
know.
is doing what.
Right. So I am gonna do this again.
Hmm.
I'm still focusing on the time I start eating till the time I stop eating. And I think
Okay.
you like the way you're doing it, don't you, Michelle?
I do. Yeah.
You know, something that I noticed, and you tell me if you also felt this, is when the few days that I was actually trying to do it, I felt my stomach less bloated.
Yes.
Me too.
Yeah?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yes.
How was your sleep?
My sleep was
Um,
great.
I mean, mine was okay. There were a couple things this week that like stress that kept me up, but
Oh,
that's
okay.
I don't associate it. Yeah, I normally I sleep okay. There's
Yeah.
a couple times when I was up, but I wanted to ask you guys though, because when I was listening to your podcast last week, you said that premenopausal women, ding ding ding, right here, it's not good to do this. So I was like, well, I don't know. I guess I know you said not everyone, but I'm like, well, I'm right at that age, where
Yeah, I
should
wonder
I?
what was the reason
Yeah.
for that? Do we remember?
The reason why is because it changes your hormones, and even if, I mean, I don't know what your situation is. If you were thinking about having another kid, it could affect that. And if you're going into menopause and the fluctuation of your hormones, it could affect the symptoms that you feel. So the fluctuation of hormones can impact just everything. It could speed it up, it could slow it down. I don't know. It could just mess everything up. That's why they say just to be cautious and really pay attention to how you feel.
Hmm.
I feel like my hormones are out of whack anyway, so I feel like
Yeah.
this might
Yeah.
help. This might actually like reverse that.
Oh, that's
Which
true.
which when you were talking about like the inflammation, I definitely have
Hmm.
inflammation issues. And this week it was better. My lower back was better. I have
Oh.
noticed. Yeah. And I struggle with hormonal acne and I don't know. I know it was like real off eating at Easter time and lots of sugar that set
Hmm.
me off, but I had a major breakout. But I think it's getting better. I think it's starting to. So I don't know. I mean, because I've cut out, I've done the whole no dairy route and and all that. So I also think it's artificial sugar, which is why I didn't do it this week and I feel better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, Michelle, about your 24-hour fast? Just
Oh,
as
I'm
a
glad you did.
Yes.
curiosity. Like,
Yes.
tell me why you started doing it and what that meant for you in terms of how you were fasting.
Oh my gosh. I used to love it. Ask Leah. I used to be like, oh
She
my gosh,
loved it.
I know. It just took the pressure off because I was like, today's just a day where I just don't eat. I don't have to worry
Mhm.
about counting my calories or counting protein or anything. It was just like one of those days where I was like, nope, you just can't eat. Just chug the water. When you get hungry, just chug the water. You can eat at 7:30 a.m. or whatever it was. And at that time I was having, coffee with cream because I would have it at like, 7:30 in the morning. At this point though, I was teaching online. It was COVID when it started and I wasn't waking up at 4:30. I was waking up at more later at like 7:30 and then I was
Mhm.
not having anything until the next morning at 7:30. And I really found like I didn't have to really be as careful with what I ate throughout the week. So I don't know if it was healthy because I was just doing the one day, where I didn't have to worry. And so throughout the week, my calories they were probably restricted because one day of the week I wasn't eating anything. But it
Right.
it
Mhm.
really did help me
What
lose
ab-
weight. It
what
helped me
about the
lose weight.
hunger? Did you like I would think I would hyper focus on being hungry. Did you have that problem or you're just busy?
No, I just kept myself busy. Now I will tell you I had no energy. I was so tired on those days and cold. cold
Mm.
and tired on those days.
Oh,
But I just kept telling myself, you can eat in the morning. Like, don't be like a baby about this. Just eat in the morning. And then there would be times when I would like want to eat at like 3 p.m. and I'd be like, oh, I made it this far. Why am I going to break? Why am I going to ruin this now? Just
Right.
yeah.
push through and go to bed at like early, And so, but I haven't done it in a while. And I think just because, I don't want to, I just want to
Yeah.
eat. Like, I
I
don't know.
know.
Yeah.
And I think that's fair. So is there
Yeah.
benefits to doing a 24-hour fast, Kamna?
There are definitely benefits. I think even if you did it once a week, there are benefits because it helps to clean out your body. And it also helps with the autophagy, which is the discarding of the cell proteins that are like waste. So your
Oh,
body gets a chance to get rid of the garbage out of your body, and it starts turning to fat to burn energy, which is helps with insulin resistance. So there's a lot of benefits to fasting for sure. I
And I will
think,
tell you, my skin did clear up when I was doing that.
yeah.
really?
But I've also never been super consistent with 16/8 because I've always cheated on the weekend. So that's why I really want to give this a solid like few weeks, maybe dare I say month to like really do 16/8 to really see.
Okay.
So do
That's
you
fair.
think you'll, even if you're like out or with the kids or on vacation, you would try to still do it?
I think so because it allows me the flexibility. If I'm out, having ice cream with the kids at like 8 o'clock at night when it's summer, I just will push it the next day. I know I can do it. I can push the
Mhm.
next day. I'll just make myself busy. I'll just now that I know
You
I can
could, if
have
you did 24, you can totally go till noon or 1 to
right,
eat. You could
right.
do it. Yeah.
But
So,
I just have to tell myself that I can't overdo it. I can't eat
Right.
the garbage during that window because that's just
right.
defeating the purpose. So
Right.
Right.
Right. And I think that mentality is there like, oh, I got to hurry up because it's almost 6:30. I better get it all
Right.
in. Leah, do you think you'll continue?
I'm
Sorry.
gonna do it definitely another week.
Okay.
I'm
Definitely
gonna
another
say
week.
I'm gonna say one more thing too is I think for me when I have that cream in my coffee and like or that first bite of something, I'm hungrier sooner. Like
Hmm.
once it's almost like when you're drinking and you break the seal and you pee and then you have to like keep peeing. It's almost like that. Like
Do you know
I'm
that, Kamna?
Yes, I
I
do.
do
Yes, I
Okay.
like
do.
you know what I mean? Then you gotta keep peeing. It's like once I break that, then it's like, oh, I'm hungry. I'm hungry 2 hours later. I'm hungry 2 hours later. But when I'm doing this intermittent fasting, yes, I'm hungry, but I don't know. I feel like I'm in a way I can get through that
You're right.
first bout,
You're right.
and then
Because
I'm
once
not
you
as
have that, yep, once you had
yeah.
that,
So
once
when
I had that first initial, like, oh my God, I'm starving, once I pushed past it, it was like almost like gone.
yeah, and then like I'm not starving by dinner because I've already gone 16 hours without eating. So my body is not like, man, you got to eat by five
Yeah.
o'clock. I'm already like, okay, I'm not even that hungry. I mean, I am for dinner, you know what I mean? But it's not like, yeah, I don't know why. It just seems like when I eat more frequently, I'm eat everything.
Hmm.
Mm.
That's a very, I'm going to pay attention to that.
And
That
also
Yeah.
like
makes sense.
maybe no, sorry, but maybe
No, go
my
ahead.
calories definitely my calories are probably less because I'm eating in a smaller window.
Right.
But so I would like to see to me though, it's harder to have like that larger window and still be within my calories. I guess that's what I'm saying is I always tend to go over my calories when I have a bigger window.
I would be
Oh,
Leah, did you say you tracked, right? Were
I checked
you
excellent.
were you within your calorie budget, so to speak?
Um, Let me see. I think I was every day,
Wow.
except the weekend because okay, wait, let's go through this.
Good for you.
Oh yeah. Every single day I was actually under my calorie budget except Saturday and Sunday. But I still ate with my window. Every single day I was. Every single
Was
day.
it was it harder on the weekends?
Yeah, it was harder on the weekends. It was much harder on the weekends. I just because weekends are just harder in general. It wasn't
Mhm.
harder to intermittent fast on the weekends. It was harder to just stay within my calories.
Okay. Michelle, was it harder for you on the weekends?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Hmm.
Definitely. Because my kids wake me up at, 5 o'clock, 5:30 on the weekends, maybe six. And I'm not like I'm surrounded by food at my house. Like I'm constantly getting them food and making them pancakes or popsicles
Yeah.
and snacks. It's just like galore. So yeah, when I'm at school, I'm just like I can't eat. Like my students aren't eating. So I'm not going to snack, yeah, I can't. So we'll see. Summer's around the corner. We'll see how. I know I had
Yeah.
talked about this at our CTA action. I'm scared for summer and not having that routine, but we'll
Yeah.
see.
Well, I think you're a person, you both are really routine people. You need a new routine.
Yeah. This might be
Yeah.
your new routine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm
So
gonna do it
nice.
again. So we'll let you know. And I'm gonna add some apple cider vinegar in every couple days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts about intermittent fasting?
I would say if anybody's gonna do it, they need to do it for 7 days. I don't think it's something you can just do. Like, I'm gonna do it Monday and Tuesday and then not Wednesday.
Right.
You know what I
I would
mean?
Yeah.
agree with that because that's what I did.
I just think that it's
Didn't
not, it's
work.
like, why are we doing it then? Like, you have to like really go, I'm gonna try this. And you really just have to think. I like how Michelle does it too. She's like, okay, so if I'm eating at 9 at night, then I just count 16 hours and that's when I can start eating.
Because it gives her flexibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah. So it's just funny how we both looked at it totally different, but it worked.
But
So,
then I do have to say, then the next day when I ate later, I still stopped myself at 6:30 that next day because I wanted to make sure the morning
Right.
after I was, so
yeah.
my eating window was smaller, but it's,
Yeah.
Hmm.
you know what I mean? But it's okay.
So your
Yeah.
focus was on the fasting time and Leah's focus was on the eating time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
imagine that.
I intend to really do it this week so then I
Oh,
can also
good.
talk about it because I didn't have any control over what was happening and what time I was sleeping and blah blah blah. But I think it's helped me and I definitely felt less bloated and I think I slept better. I
Okay.
slept more soundly on those nights and it was just good because you know the mindless eating that happens after dinner
Yes.
for me it
Yeah.
just stopped and
Yeah.
that's the worst part of my day. I probably consume 800 calories after dinner.
Yeah, easily. That's so easy to do.
Yeah. You know,
Yeah,
you get a
I get
snack
that.
here and then another snack and like you said you break the seal, you just want to keep on eating.
All right. That's a great example. That's a great thing to say. Break the seal. Don't break the seal. Don't break the seal. Don't break the
I know the context was different, but you know.
But yeah, no, but it might be helpful to be like, you don't need it. You don't need it. Don't, you know?
Yeah.
So what maybe I'll be saying that tomorrow morning when I'm at work.
Yeah. I think
So
yeah, you could do it. You've done it already 7 days, so why
I
not?
know.
Yeah.
I know. So
Thank
well,
you
thank
so
you
much,
so
Michelle.
much. I know it was
Thanks
very
for
hard for
having
you to
me.
find time to
Thank
get
you
on.
guys. This was awesome.
You were so
But
open and honest, and I think that'll help people because the experience of doing it and the questions that we all have about how does this really work and how do you manage this? And you have a very busy life and you still
yeah,
manage to do it.
very busy and you did it and
Yeah.
found time to be on the podcast. So we thank you.
Thank you
Yes.
so much.
You're
All right.
welcome. Thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye.